To my mind, what we actually have in the country now is like a misgrill. In most states, you have a combination, you have a lot of joint task forces all over the place. So what will be required is for each of the chief executive of the states to ensure that they put troops in readiness while the police contain the problem. So when there's an issue, it's very easy to get the governor to know that, look, we want the military people to move in now. It's a very simple, the architecture is very clear.
Professor Adisa, you've done research about this herdsmen, the clashes. Looking through, we understand you know a little bit more in terms of many who stay, who are not maybe so deep involved. What is it that you found about this? Because now the country is talking about how do we get a solution to this?
Yeah, what we found, I belong to a group called the Chinua Achebe Memorial Foundation, and they sent men on ground to Agbani, to an area in Enugu, Gariki, where you have a lot of Fulani men. They also sent people to Abia State, where they call Ama Hausa, where you have the Hausa cattle rearers and cattle dealers. And what they discovered from the interview of these people is that this organization is a hierarchy. They have a structure. The apex are the cattle owners. The cattle owners are, it will surprise you to know that the cattle owners are emirs, the elites of this country, retired generals, retired army. Majority of them are from the north, but some are also from the south. So this is the apex. The second in line are security operatives, holding top security positions, including the rank and file. They have men there. And that's why I'm disappointed that the Ministry of Internal Affairs is headed by virtually everybody from the north. The Minister of Internal Affairs is from the north. The Comptroller General of Customs is from the north. The Comptroller General of Prison is from the north. The Director of State Security is from the north. So virtually all the position is for one segment of the country. That's the second point. The third level are the militants. They are not the one that would sticks and pursue and go with the cattle. They are like the militia. The cattle owners employ them as security.
But they always told us that they're not part of us. No. That the average herdsman, you won't find them.
They are embedded. They are fewer than the herdsmen, but they are there. And how to distinguish them is that, number one, they don't wear the same attire. About 80% of them are foreigners, from Mali, from Senegal, from Niger. But a good number of them are born in Nigeria. They are not as religious as their brothers. Some of them are on drugs and all kinds of things. And they wield sophisticated weapons.
I think, Prof, I think you're not alone in your research, in your finding, because I recall we've had quite a handful of discussions with the Miyetti Allah Association, and they've also alluded to this fact that some of these people, they don't share, in fact, some of them don't share the same religion with them, they don't send the same language with them. But it falls back to you, Dr. Ijide, because...
sorry, I don't know if I could complete.
No, I'll let you complete.
Yeah,
it falls back to the military, because at the end of the day, some of these allegations from the Miyetti Allah group needs to be unraveled, investigated, and confirmed. We'll come back to you. We'll let you finish your train of thought on that.
Yeah. So then the last in line are the cattle rearers. These are very poor. You know, the Fulani system is a caste system. You have the what you can call the big men. Then you have the lower rung of the ladder. They are the least in the ladder. Now, why I say that the security operatives are involved, because this is a very sensitive matter. You will discover that when, like what happened in Nimbo, in Ugwa, in the local government area of Enugu State. The community informed the caretaker chairman that something was going to happen the next day. So the caretaker chairman immediately went to the governor, and the governor convened a Security Council meeting. And at that meeting, strategies were put in place to contain them. Police were drafted to that community, and they were on patrol. Can you imagine? The police left that place 30 minutes before the herdsmen struck.
Was it a coincidence?
It wasn't a coincidence. In fact, when I brought this challenge up at a security summit meeting we had in Aba 2 or 3 days ago, the commissioner of police said they were supposed to patrol throughout. Even if they were going to leave, they should hand over to another group. They shouldn't live in vacuum, leading to allegation that there's a collusion.
You want to respond to this, the earlier submission
yes,
by...
Yes, I will do that. You see, the question is just about this. It's issue of professionalism. Some time ago, we talked about the security architecture, and I'm happy that he has mentioned the fact that somebody brought information to the governor and he decided to call the security committee. But then, what happened? So the information can even be available. Meanwhile, the reaction, the response that is required will not be deployed for some obvious reasons. So what does that mean? We have a lot of gaps in the security sector that need to be breached, that need to be plugged. And I think that is where the government should focus on. And there are so many identifiable gaps. You talk about manpower gap, not just in terms of the strength that is manpower required to be able to police this country, to ensure the security of this country, but also in terms of the quality, the human capital that is required, the training they should receive, the professionalism, the attitude that they must imbibe to be able to carry out this responsibility, the huge responsibility that's on them. We need all of that. When that is lacking, then there's a gap. There's a gap between what is expected and what is obtained.
If you could add to that, pardon me to butt
Yes.
it, because, I mean, Sulaiman did ask that, look, when soldiers go to that front, when they get in, I mean, you understand strategy and professionalism. The president he's held highest offices in the military, now in the political circle. So when you say the rises and falls with leadership, many also expect that he understands being up there, how it should be professionally, in terms of what you should do militarily and politically. When people then blame him, saying, look, they haven't seen him pull his weight in terms of attacking this problem headlong, do you agree with that?
I don't agree with them. Because like I told you before, what happens is that information is generated from the grassroots. When you generate that information, you send it upwards, it's analyzed, and based on that analysis, a response is given. So there are people who are already in place. But from time to time, of course, he can call a meeting. He has a National Defense Council meeting at which this matter can be tabled, and of course, he can respond. So until we are privileged to know that he has not given the right response, that is where we should have problems. But more importantly is the fact that when you talk about gaps in the security sector, it takes a lot to bridge that gap. For instance, when this insurgency started initially, we recognized that the strength of the armed forces was just about 120,000. And about 120,000, that includes the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Now, within the Army alone, you have other corps that are not combat. So those who are actually fighting, those who you can even deploy in the field, are a lot less. That is to say, the huge task on them to be able to patrol and conduct operations is very huge. That means there could be a lot of gaps, and therefore you could have a lot of ambushes and others, especially in a situation that is an asymmetric warfare. So in other words, it will take time for you to deploy, to develop a manpower requirement that could take charge of this. Then, of course, when you talk about the grand strategy, it's not about the military alone. It means you must talk about an economy that can support the manpower requirement, their training.
You're talking about manpower deployment and all that, but the other matter that I think you should weigh in on is the matter of proliferation of arms. Small firearms are all everywhere. You find this herdsmen, suspected herdsmen with AK-47s. How are they able to get this? I mean...
Can I respond?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think let's start from the question you asked my colleague. Has the president been fair in his dealing with the herdsmen? I would say no. And the reasons why I would say no is, number one, we have other militancy and insurgency in the Niger Delta, a group that now call themselves the Avengers, that have almost practically run down our economy. We have the independent people of Biafra that are agitating in a very peaceful way, at least for now, for the actualization of their dream. Now, the president and his men, they have moved tanks, armored tanks, to the Niger Delta area.